All right, welcome everybody. A few guests on tonight. Special Q&A, July 22nd here in the US. Yeah, so if you've got any questions for Simon, Dr. Buller, or Dr. Drummond, any of you guys who are already in the program, uh, feel free to type your questions in the chat or Q&A section. A little bit later today, we'll talk about the pre-launch of our 30-day GOPex challenge, but we always start off with some questions for existing students. So, no, I don't think anyone's submitted any questions just yet. So we'll give everyone a bit of a few minutes to set this up. All right, anyone to raise there? This is the lunchtime, obviously, of Simon. So bring your coffee and teas, late night supper for you guys in the East Coast. But if you've got questions related to partial orthodontics, early intervention, now's the time to share. If you want to raise your hand and join the panel and get on a video or audio call, you can interact with Simon that way as well. So normally we allocate around 45 minutes for question time, and we'll talk a bit about the challenge as well. Uh, Anyone got any questions? Okay, let's see. Let's see if everyone hear us okay? A little bit of interaction. You can type your hello or yes if you can hear. Hey, Dr. Fuller, anyone else? Dr. Stop. Welcome. Good to see you. Dr. Kana, welcome. Hi, Dr. Kana. Good to see you as always. Do you have any questions for Dr. Wong? You've been in this program for a while. I've been sure you've got some questions related to the course content. Once again, if you need any help with accessing any of the training, feel free to reach me. We have a new website, a new email, info@posturalorthodontics.com. If you have any technical issues accessing any of our trainings, etc. Dr. Julia, welcome, welcome. Does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, this will be a very short Q&A. I can talk a little bit about the challenge, perhaps, but give you guys a few more minutes. So hopefully, we do accept questions in advance, and if you cannot make it, as you're going through, whether it's the 2-day intro or any of the advanced training, some of you are in a mentorship program. Dr. Buller, are you there? If you want to raise your hand and perhaps share some of your experiences actually being part of our mentoring program, that would be much appreciated. Those considering it. But put you on the spot, only be available. But has anyone got any questions? I know a few names here are part of the advanced training, but let's see if we have any questions come through. This time is for you guys to inquire about any of the curriculum. All right, as we are still waiting for potentially any questions, I am going to share a bit about our upcoming 30-day challenge. May. Is that okay? If I type yes, if you'd like to hear a bit about the challenge now versus near the end of, because there's no questions submitted. Normally there's always some questions from Dr. Button and a few others, but we'll appear if there's any question at this stage. Okay, so let's join our program. Dr. Cheng. Okay, welcome to our 30-day challenge. Okay, see someone. All right, let me share my screen. Let's see if I can make this a bit more bigger screen. All right, let me share my screen. I don't think there's any questions. Did you see any questions coming in, Simon? Nope, no one's got any questions. I'm going to go through. Okay, here we are. Actually, I have a question from. Let's get to Q&A time. Thank you for submitting a question, Dr. Kana. I'll just type this question into the Google Doc. All right, Simon. Do you have that handy?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I've already typed it in there. So you want to share the screen? Yeah. So do have a think about the questions. So make full use of the time for questions. Thank you, Dr. Kana.
Um, any way you can design and expand it depending on how much skeletal expansion you need versus uprighting. Um, with the lower arch, all you can do is uprighting. Very little in the way of, well, none in the way of skeletal expansion. So the lower appliance is a standardized appliance because you can't really expand the basal bone in the mandible. In very young patients, say primary dentition, very, very early mixed dentition, there's a really big volume of alveolar bone. So you can do a lot of translation of the arch itself so that it looks like skeletal expansion. Same design. If you don't want to move a certain tooth in a lower arch, then you can definitely not put any components onto that tooth, and then you'll leave it behind because you're only creating movement where you have physical contact with the appliance. So, yeah, if you don't want to move a specific tooth in a lower arch, you just make sure no wires touch it, and there's a cutout in the acrylic so that the acrylic doesn't interact at all with the alveolar component of that tooth. Your expansion is sutural, so it's a skeletal expansion. If you want to bring a tooth, if you don't want to move a tooth from its position or actually bring it in, then you can move that tooth within the alveolar bone. Concurrent or after you've done your skeletal palatal expansion, you can have a approximating wire spring that overlaps to the buccal, and you can pull the tooth palatally. So that's how you would create a design change. So you would use a standard approach in the design, but you'd modify the design so that you either have effectively a cutout in the lower arch so you don't put any pressure on the tooth or its root surfaces. And in the upper arch, you would have a crossover spring that you could activate to bring from the buccal and pull in towards the palatal.
Okay, terrific. We have a raised. Sorry, Simon, did you finish answering that question?
Yep.
Okay, terrific. Did you have any follow-up questions, Dr. Kana for that to type it in. But Dr. Dwayne has raised his hand. I want to open up and invite you to the panel if you'd like to unmute. If you just want to stay incognito and type your questions, feel free to type your questions. Otherwise, you are invited to talk, allowed to talk. Here we go. If you can unmute if you'd like. You can turn on your video. So you raised your hand, so we've invited you to the panel. Let's see, us to unmute. So you have permission to talk, or if you want, you can type your question in, Dr. Dwayne. Once again, this is for dentists and allied health professionals. And I know occasionally some parents pop into this, but it's only listen in that scenario. Yeah, Dr. Drummond, you have a question? We have invited you to the panel, so you can unmute. You can turn on your video if you'd like. Or if you want to type your question, feel free to do so. Not sure. Yeah, you've got permission to talk if you'd like us to unmute. Okay, Dr. Candice is in the house. Welcome, Dr. Veneberg. Like to type in some questions or join the panel. Would anyone like to join the panel and chit chat with Simon? And just raise your hand. Any other questions for Simon? Not sure whether it was some technical problems, Dr. Grumman, but you know, if you'd like, you can just type your question in. I'm not sure why you haven't been able to talk, but maybe there's some issues there. But apologies. You can type in your question. Does anyone else have any questions? I'll just lower your hand for now. So why? All right. Anyone else who has any questions? Simon? Dr. Khanna, any follow-up? Okay. Dr. Khanna has a follow-up question. Terrific. Let me do something about that. Here we go. Simon, do you see?
Now, how can we make sure we don't move teeth out of bone? You've got to be very observant of the curve of Wilson. So you just got to make sure that you don't expand past an upright position. So you just have to pay attention to teeth that are lingually or palatally inclined. Once the teeth are uprighted, you're probably at the end point of safe expansion. It's less relevant in the primary dentition, more relevant in permanent dentition. So 6-year-old molars, you're going to pay attention to. The incisors, parent incisors. In the majority of what treatments that we do, postural orthodontics, we don't tip beyond an edge-to-edge position, so that's rarely an issue for bone loss. The main areas where you'll get bone loss in the anteriors using postural orthodontic protocols is if a tooth, like a central incisor, was displaced buccally outside of the arch form due to the original crowding. So that's actually quite common. You'll get crowding to a point where one of the centrals, or sometimes the lateral, but usually one of the centrals, has ended up in a slight anterior crossbite, say a lower incisor, and was forced outside of the arch form. So these teeth very often have very, very small amounts of buccal alveolar, but they usually began that way. And you've just got to be very mindful that you don't want to apply any pressure to those teeth, because if you displace them further, then you'll get massive amounts of recession because they never had any bone to begin with. And obviously this is easily documented in your start records because your photos, if done well, will show that these teeth are displaced buccally and have a thin biotype to begin with because they're already outside of the arch form. As far as the molars are concerned, if you keep the molars fairly upright as a maximum amount of expansion, then that's not usually a problem. If you start to expand without consideration to the arch form, and if you expand without thought of what is reasonable in the intermolar width, then you shouldn't have any problems. Where issues arise is when people don't pay attention to theoretical intermolar widths advocated in some treatments compared to real-world intermolar widths requirements. Lots of different treatment programs give intermolar widths that are much larger than necessary for general orthodontic alignment. The treatments such as orthotropics, which are not advocated and taught in postural orthodontics, the widths are significantly wider, and the tipping of the incisors is at often an extreme level. There are certainly risks when you do that type of treatment for stretching the biotype. The reality is, in very young patients, so under 10 years of age, these transient extreme expansion tipping situations don't cause any long-term issues. If you do the same protocols in older patients, older than 10, then if you have a thin biotype to begin with, run very high risks of recession and alveolar bone loss. So it's understanding your start position, understanding the biological age, understanding the biotype that you begin with, understanding the position of the dentition at the start, understanding what the Wilson-Curtis-Bay relationships are at the beginning, and being mindful of your intentions and your expectations for the treatment. Okay, next question. If you would only watch one thing during 2 to 3 week follow-up periods to predict long-term success, what would it be? You can't really just watch one thing. You have to watch lots of things. Um, you have to know that the parents can follow instructions so that the turn rate is at the right level. You have to pay attention to whether they have listened to your protocols and expanded only if the plates are well fitting, the patients are wearing them full time, and they are free of discomfort. You have to make sure that they are not just focused on the appliances, but also focused on regular, consistent practice of the exercise programs. You want to know that they are policing the children and not allowing them to take plates in and out inappropriately. You have to um, make sure that the focus is on sharing the responsibilities between the clinician, the parent, and the child. So those are, multiple things, of course, but the compliance, obviously, component is very important. Um, you have to pay attention to how the wires are displaced, how they fit against the teeth, and make adjustments accordingly. You have to pay attention to the fit of the appliances. You have to, it's like everything. You've got to make sure everything is on point. It's the question is the same as if I said, well, what would be the one thing that you would watch for to ensure that your crown preps were successful in the long term? What would you need to pay attention to? What's the one thing that you would pay attention to ensure that your periodontal health remain good for your patients? Well, you can't. It's not just one thing. It's many, many things. Next question. How long do you give a child to improve with GOPex before deciding they need additional interventions such as myotherapy or a change in the protocol? Most kids struggle with GOPex. So if they practice, usually within 3 sessions, they'll be able to manage it. The reality is they don't practice. And if they practice, it's unsupervised. So it's effectively not practicing. So it's mucking around. Some kids can take months before they master GOPex. Using the froggy mouth can definitely assist in mastery of GOPex. So my protocol was to persevere until they got it right. Because if they don't get it right, your treatment fails. So how long do we give a child a chance to improve? With if they haven't improved within, say, 3 sessions, then I would definitely be looking at using the froggy mouth. Alternatively, you can just start with the froggy mouth and you're going to have an improvement in the GOPex because the froggy mouth forces the GOPex practice. Because it's the same exercise as the sit, smile, swallow. Um, as far as other intervention protocols, they're the only ones that I use. So GOPex is about learning how to swallow correctly. If we develop an open bite, for example, because we instead of learning to swallow correctly, we end up with a tongue thrust or a tongue between the teeth resting, then we will then look at myofunctional therapies to manage that. And that's when you'll need a speech lingual pathologist or myofunctional therapist to help. So you can see that happening. The bite all of a sudden opens up somewhere. And, in those cases, it'll be good to seek the assistance of a speech lingual pathologist or a myofunctional therapist.
Okay. Any other questions? So did you already answer question 4, Simon?
Did I what?
Finish the last question? 4? Was
Yes.
covered already? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. All right, any other questions for Simon? Okay, so please come in. Thank you, Candice. You want to jump on the Zoom and say hello? All right. Any other questions? We have another 10, 15 minutes. Simon's lunch break is over. Don't be shy. Just going to raise your hand and join the panel. Feel free to do so. And yeah, let's see if there's any other questions coming in last minute. Okay. Nothing. Okay. Any tips? Here we are. Thank you, Candice. One more question coming in. Simon?
Any tips or words of wisdom to convince parents of the shared responsibility? It's a condition of your initial treatment plan presentation. So it's conditional at the presentation before the contract is signed, right? We just have to make it clear that the project is most likely to be successful if you wear the plates full time and turn the screw according to the instructions, and if you turn up at the right times during the appointments, and your practices the exercises as instructed every day without fail. If you only do the appliances, then the changes in the dimension will occur, but all changes will be unsustainable. If you just do the exercises, but you don't do the plate wear, then you'll never make the changes to the shapes and the structure, and you'll never really you master the exercises correctly because the structures won't match up well. It's only if you wear the plates and then do the exercises that you'll get the outcomes. And the only way to ensure that that happens is that everyone takes on their responsibilities, and you have to do your part. Mom and dad have to do their part. The kid has to do their part. So this is a compliance-based protocol. So everyone has to be involved. There's no kind of passive role in any of the parties involved. Everyone's roles are active. If they're good with that, and it makes sense to treat. And if they're not good with that, then best to wait until they're older and have fixed appliances. So the benefit of fixed appliances, like braces, is that the only responsibility of the parent is to bring the child to the appointment and to pay the bill. With removable appliance therapy and postural orthodontics, then everyone's role is active. Not only do they have to bring the child to each appointment, pay the bill, but they have to police the child's wear of the appliances. They have to activate the screw, and they have to supervise the exercises on a daily basis. And they actually have to be the ones who change the culture of the household so that everyone understands the importance of closed mouth resting posture, and everyone actively seeks to achieve a closed mouth resting posture. Next, I found supervision of the exercises in all kids is the most challenging. Yeah, every age group has their own challenges. So it's just being clear at the beginning what the requirements are. It's probably no more challenging than making sure people floss their teeth. So if you can run a practice where you can get people to floss, then you can run a practice where you get people to do GOPex and GOPex. And if you can't run a practice where you get people to floss, then you probably aren't going to be able to run a practice where you get people to do the postural orthodontic exercises.
That's probably a good analogy. So I'm kind of going through this whole protocol right now with my two boys, the Simon's two nephews. Um, Maybe this is a good time to segue into our challenge. I actually want Simon to stay on for this kind of intro, something we've been working on before he heads off to back to work. But so thank you all for your questions. Um, so where shall we begin? So let me just turn on my video. Just in a hotel at the moment, New York. Not at home, but hopefully my Wi-Fi is clear. So a few months ago, you know, I said to Simon, look, it's probably time for your two nephews to go through this treatment. They were 6 and 8, and had had Simon take a look at their records. And yep, indeed, they were good candidates for this process. And I also thought, oh, let's number one document this, which we have, and we started. Actually, I'm going to play a little 1 or 2 minute teaser of this process. Let me just see if I can share my video here. So every month, studying, we're still editing the first episode. Each episode will be about 10 minutes. So as we're visiting Dr. Rose in New York. She was a student and a mentee of Simon's a few years ago, and fortunately doesn't live too far from us. We're a little bit outside of New York City, but so really part of the inspiration of putting this 30-day challenge, which we're going to talk a bit about, was the fact that I was going to go through this process. It's one thing helping behind the scenes with the logistics and the business side and the marketing for this, dental education, postural orthodontics. Another thing to actually uh, get involved with the nitty-gritty and actually be a patient, you could say. So here's this little teaser of this journey that Simon's two nephews, my two boys, are going through right now. Simon, can you hear the audio come through? Just want to double check.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's Simon here with our mum and my wife and two boys, Kai and Lee. So we're gonna affectionately call this the Wong boys. 12 to 18 month early interceptive journey. Hi, I'm Kian Wong, and today is a big day for my two boys, Kai and Lee, ages 8 and 6.5. We're at Dr. Rose's office for their very first orthodontic appointment. Now, Dr. Rose, over the last few years, she's worked with and has been mentored by my brother, Dr. Simon Wong, who's developed this technique called early interceptive postural orthodontics. Oh, that's my brother, Dr. Wong, the dentist in the family, and me and my two boys. Now, even though Simon's based in Melbourne, Australia, and we're here in New York, we're truly grateful Dr. Rose will be able to guide my boys' orthodontic developments with the same methods that have helped so many kids around the world. In a nutshell, postural orthodontics is all about treating the cause, guiding growth to achieve balanced faces, better airways, and alignment without extractions. How? Through custom-designed expansion appliances for the upper and lower jaws, plus simple oral posture training, what we call GOPex. So come join us on this 12 to 18 month journey as we take you through their first visit and show you the steps we're taking to make sure their smiles, their facial development, and their health are on the right track. Oh, and by the way, as a dentist and parent, if you're wondering whether your child is still within the growth window for this type of early intervention, take our quick 90-second self-assessment to find out if postural orthodontics may still be an option, or whether traditional orthodontics is likely the better path forward. Link below. Still brushing the dinosaur. Is it a dragon? For Ardsley Family Dental. Still editing this, but this is partly the inspiration for our challenge, which I'll get into right now. So it's a 30-day GOPex growth challenge. When I first came across the GOPex book or ebook, I'm sure a lot of you have gone through this. It's just a light 30, 40-page book that was sold on Amazon. Dr. Sandra Khan published as co-author. It's kind of out of print, unfortunately, at the moment. So we've got the rights to just give it away for free. So for whatever reason you don't have a copy, we'll show you how you can get a free e-copy version of this. So it's one thing to kind of scan through the ebook and, oh, okay, these exercises look relatively simple. There's a lot of exercises out there from various myofunctional groups and so on and so forth. And it's easy to kind of gloss over them. But, as Candace and others have found out that, compliance is an issue, right? So this is why we've created this challenge. It's a challenge for a reason. It's not that easy in today's modern life to spend that 10, 15 minutes every day going through these exercises. Also making sure the kids are cleaning their appliances, and so on and so forth. And we're every night activating them, turning them, half turn, 45 degrees, et cetera, et cetera. So we put together this 30-day challenge. Traditionally, we would have a 2-day program. And the last 2-day program we had was in New York, New Jersey area at the Hilton, and we took the best content, roughly, you could, 6, 7 hours. I think it was about 4 hours from that event. We've got some new content that we've included, but in total, we put together a 7-hour bit of training. It's on demand. Plus, we have weekly live Q&A, like such as this every night, every week, where you can ask questions. But 6, 7 hours of on-demand training, online training. Some of it was the best from the in-person event where people paid like 2,000 a seat, restructured into a 30-day challenge, right? So we have very specific curriculum. Now you can go through this at your own pace during the 30 days, rather than sitting in front of a Zoom for 2 days straight or, flying somewhere. You can get a good overview of of posture orthodontics through these 7 hours of content spread out over 30 days. And it's a challenge because number one, uh, we know completion rates for online training is not 100%. We've all been guilty of enrolling in some course or some book where we never get through it all. Right. So there is 7 hours of PACE AGD CE. It's accredited. There's a quiz. And if you want your CE, then you got to complete it within the 30 days. Right? That's one part of the challenge. And you got to attend at least one live Q&A. Secondly, probably most importantly, is the fact that we have a structured daily program to encourage you to complete the challenge, right? So, which includes the 10, 15 minutes of exercises. And we've boiled the 30, 40 pages into a one-pager here, as you can see, right? Just follow it as one-pager, take a picture of it, rather than trying to figure out what should I do first. We've broken it down very into a simple one-pager, right? That's the whole idea. And I'm going through this with my boys, and hopefully we can inspire others to do so for their own children or their patients, right? A lot of parent dentists will be joining this program to see what it's like firsthand, right? So it's a combination of going through some curriculum. We have a specific curriculum from the trophic premise, all the GOPex exercises, step by step, and then evidence from Stanford breakthrough, interesting good research that's come out recently about removable appliances on newborns, to Simon's Texas A&M research, case presentation, to the appliances themselves, right? What, exactly where to order the same appliances that Simon orders from, right? The lab communication, what exact setup equipment you need, right? Everything that we've covered in our full 2-day program is in there as well, right? So it's, as mentioned, PACE AGD, and the program, like traditionally, we would have like a 2-day, $2,000 event, or if it's online, it would be like $800. So for the 7 hours of PACE for this challenge is 397. But we have a special where it comes all the way down to 97, right? We have this pre-launch special. I'll tell you how to go about getting the 75% off. So this is the lowest ever. It's like a pre-launch. We're just going to test out this crazy price. So people from all around the world can participate in this challenge, get 7 hours of PACE CE for $97. If you're an allied health professional, regular pricing will be $147, but during this special pre-launch before the event is launched, which is August 3rd, by the way, 2 weeks away, roughly 10, 11 days away. It will be our first 30-day launch. And allied health professionals like hygienists, biofunctional therapists, other, members of your team can join at not 147, but it'll be, what's the pricing during this pre-launch? $47. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. And that includes 5 hours of PACE AGDCE. So if you've got team members that haven't had a chance to go through a 2-day program, this is the next best thing for $47, right? And if you're a parent listening in, and because whenever we do our marketing, there's inevitably parents who opt in for the free ebook or whatever. We want to make it a no-brainer, instead of paying the regular price of 47, but just $7. And this is also a great way to invite your patients who are considering this treatment to actually go through this 30-day challenge. Because if this will be a very good litmus test, good indicator of whether they're suitable for this protocol, right? So it's we've cut it down to just 2, 3 hours of training. There's an e-certificate of completion if they, do their 10 minutes a day, whole 1 year access and so on and so forth, uh, worksheets for parents, et cetera, right? So this is the very special program, offer that we have during this pre-launch. How do you get access to it? Well, this is the link. You can get the first hour of training for free. Here you go. Let me just put the link here. It's the first time we're talked about it. I think emailed a few people about this. But here's the link to challenge. So yeah, there you go. posturorthodontics.com/growth-protocol. So here you can get the 60-minute masterclass. Um, that's separate from the 7 hours. This is like an introduction. You can get the ebook. You can join our weekly live Q&A. Just are you a dentist? Is it mainly for your patients? Is it for your own children? Are you an allied health professional? You can see here it's 5 hours. And as soon as you opt in, you'll be taken to this page here where you get the 75% off, right? Or up to 85% if it's a parent track, right? There's no CE for that track, obviously. And then you don't need to type in any coupon. You just, check out, and that's the special that we have. All right. So hopefully this way it's an opportunity to, give yourself your own challenge to go through this protocol and to share what are the challenges. And that's the whole point. We have a community, an online community that we've just launched. Not too many members at the moment. But here, you can see here there's other members and there's a classroom. The classroom is where we house all the training from the free training. The masterclass is broken into 4 parts. And then, if you're a dentist here, you can see here, once you enroll in the challenge, we'll unlock all the different videos for week 1. And it's, as I said, on demand. You can go through them in a weekend, right? You don't have to wait till the full 30 days is up. But, if you pace yourself 1 or 2 hours a week, you'll get through it. But there's also actually, we've edited for the first time 50 minutes of some selection of case supervision. So some of these are mentoring students who have been part of our mentoring program for 6 months to even a few years, and you can see some excerpts from these live recorded mentoring calls that happen every couple of weeks. So that's all part of, and there's a quiz here. And for some of you who want to upgrade, there's also a special case review where you can actually submit a particular case to Simon to review. And then as soon as you enroll in the challenge, you can see the special that we have there as well. I think for $100 extra, you can get Simon to take a look at one of your cases. All right, so that's kind of the new launch thing. You might be seeing we're actually running some ads now. You might see some of these videos. But this is a great way to have a bit of a refresher if you've done our 2-day program in the past. And this is the focus really is on the GOPex exercises. I'm going to be sharing my challenges of getting my kids to go through these exercises. We'll be hearing from Simon to give us extra tips on compliance. Right? How do we encourage the kids to go through these exercises properly? What are the nuances, and so on and so forth. Right? So the focus here is more on the really how to prevent the relapse is my understanding. Right, the expansion happens pretty cool. These appliances are amazing. You turn these little widgets and they do their job, right? But if we don't do our jobs as parents, then we're not correcting the root issue. Then it can unravel, as they say. Simon, any comments about this? Words of
No,
encouragement?
it's good.
Perfect. So any questions from anyone before we wrap up? And hopefully you guys will participate and join in the fun of this challenge. And you know, hopefully we'll have some transformations and breakthroughs over the 30 days. All righty. Any questions about this new program before we wrap up? Yeah, so once again, this is an opportunity to share it with family and friends. It doesn't have to be fellow dental professionals. As I said, the $7 is a bit of a, we didn't want to make it completely free because people don't value free things often and they just don't bother. But if they can at least commit to a cup of coffee and hopefully they'll treat it with some seriousness and get a little bit of education as well as putting into practice this 10, 15 minutes of exercises Simon's put together over the last few decades that has worked. So, hi, Christine, welcome. You've just joined. We were just talking about our 30-day GOPex challenge. Just wanted to think there's some allied health professional, myofunctional therapist here who just joined. So welcome, welcome. Once again, our 30-day GOPex challenge is launching in about a couple of weeks, 11 days, August 3rd. 30-day GOPex growth challenge. We have different tiers, for dentists, 7 hours of training as well as, daily exercises with the GOPex challenges. Allied health professionals and even parents can join in. But we have a really good special where it's literally 70, 80% off, right? So for allied health professionals, it's not $150. It's just $47 for 5 hours of training, PACE CE, and dentists get 75% off during this pre-launch. 7 hours of CE for just $97, and parents just $7, right? You can encourage family and friends and spread the word to have them experience this very simple but profound exercise we call GOPex. Just 2-3 hours of training for parents, certificate of completion if they do their daily exercises, and it's a great way to spread the word, right? And hopefully then guide them to more, whether you're helping them as a coach, as an allied health professional. It's a good way to get people to learn about the importance of oral posture. All right. So once again, if you'd like to just get the 1 hour free preview, you go to this page here and then opt in. And as soon as you opt in, you can see the special 70, 80% discount. Take advantage of that before we launch officially August 3rd, I think is the date. So 30-day challenge to complete the 5 to 7 hours if you're a dental professional to get your CE. You have 1 year's full access to the training theoretically, so you can go through it at your own pace. But if you do want the CE, get it done within the 30 days, more than enough time. But more importantly, and probably more value, is to do these 10 to 15 minutes of exercises with your own kids, with someone, to see for yourself that it's a beginning of a journey to correct something that has been very detrimental to that child's open mouth, long posture, and so on and so forth. All right, any quick questions? Otherwise, we're going to wrap up. I think that's pretty clear. So yeah, so spread the word, and hopefully we'll see you on the challenge. Any other final thoughts or questions? Now, this is our first challenge. We'll probably do it again later this year, and we're going to refine things. I think ultimately that's what we want. We want something that more people can join in and get educated and put into practice, and get the support of this community. There is an online community that you'll be joining inside this cool platform called School, SKOOL.com. I don't know if this is the first time we're using it. It's a new cool platform that allows us to not only share content, as you can see. We've created this GOPex growth community. So as soon as you enroll in the free preview, you get to join. And there's a place to interact here. We're live right now, as you can see. The classroom is where you will have access to your curriculum. Step 1, 2, 3, 4 is the free 60-minute GOPex, the growth protocol, and then 30-day challenge, the huge discount. We've got obviously a pathway for dentists and a pathway for allied health professionals. And my two boys, as I mentioned, if you joined a little bit late, Kai and Lee, the Wong boys, 6 and 8, are going through this real time, and we're documenting the process. So every month we'll have a new video of their journey through this called the 18-month protocol of expansion and doing the GOPex exercises. Alrighty, so hopefully you can join our challenge starting in about 12 days and be part of this movement. All right. All right, thanks, Simon. We'll wrap it up here. We'll catch you guys same time, same place next week. If you have any questions, send us an email at info@orthodontics.com. All right, guys, thanks so much. Take care. See you next time.